Welcome to the first code demonstration of Comp 6005. I hope you watched the previous video on how to install Visual Studio. If you have not watched that video, please go back and watch that now and install Visual Studio. I'll begin this video by creating a new C++ project within Visual Studio. To do this, go to File, click on New, Project, and select Empty Project. Let's use the default name and location for the project for now. Let's click OK. This will create the new C++ project and it will add it to the Solution Explorer. Now that the project is created, let's go ahead and add a new source file into this project. To do that, go to the Solution Explorer. Under Project 1, right-click Source Files, go to Add, and click on New Item. Now select C++ file, and let's change the default name for this file from source.cpp to main.cpp. Click Add to create and add the CPP file. Now before adding code to the CPP file, let's go ahead and access project settings and modify a few default project settings within Visual Studio. To access project settings, right-click on Project, go to Properties. Under C/C++, the first project setting that we want to modify is the warning level. In Visual Studio, there are 4 different warning levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. By default, level 3 is used. Let's modify this to level 4. The next setting that we want to modify is in language. So go to Language, and let's disable the language extensions. Let's click S here. And finally, let's change the language standard to C++ 17. Okay, now let's apply and click OK. This will save all the changes that we made. Now let's change the default configuration from x86 to x64. Since we are running this program on a 64-bit machine, let's change this to x64. Now let's add code to the CPP file. In this program, you will see how to read inputs from the keyboard and write outputs to the screen. We will go through this program line by line, trying to understand what each line is doing. But since this is the first class, I will not spend too much time explaining the syntax. We will revisit some of these later in the semester where we will deal with them in a little more detail. The first line in this program is a comment. There are 2 types of comments in C++, a single line comment and a block comment. A single line comment begins with 2 forward slashes, and everything that follows it will be treated by the compiler as a comment. A block comment begins with a forward slash and an asterisk, and it ends with an asterisk followed by a forward slash, and everything in between will be treated by the compiler as a comment. Block comment usually spans multiple lines. The next couple of instructions in this program are #include iostream and #include string. #include is a directive in C++. It is used to let compiler know that we want to use some inbuilt functionalities within the language. In this case, we want to include the functionalities provided by iostream and string. iostream provides functionalities related to input and output, and string provides definitions for std string, a data type that we will be using to represent a sequence of characters such as names. The next line defines a main function. Every C++ program defines a function called as main, and it's by default the entry point into the program. The return type of the function is an integer. In the next line, we are declaring a variable called class_code_cs of type int or integer. This is a declaration statement. For now, just think about declaration as informing the compiler the name of an entity and its type. Here, an entity is a variable, its name is class_code_cs, and its type is an integer. The next line is an assignment statement. Here we are assigning a value 6962 to the variable class_code_cs. The next line provides an example of combining both declaration and definition into a single statement. Here we are declaring a variable called class underscore code underscore me, which is of type integer, and we are assigning it a value of 6250 in the same statement. Usually we combine both declaration and definition into a single statement when we know the initial value of a variable when we are declaring it. The next line shows a syntax for printing a string literal in C++. In C we use a printf statement, in Python we use a print statement, in C++ we use stdcout, which is in short for standard output. When this line is executed, the string literal please enter your name will be displayed on the console window. The next line declares a variable called my underscore name, which is of type string. Notice this is again a declaration statement. We are not assigning an initial value to the string. We are assigning a value to the string using stdcin in the next line, wherein we will type a name using the keyboard on the console and press enter. And once we hit enter, the name that we type will be stored within this variable my underscore name. Okay, before proceeding further, let's see how to compile and run this program. To compile the program, go to build and click build solution. This will start the compilation process. Notice how the program did not successfully compile here. There was a compilation error. Now to view all the compilation errors in a single window, let's go to view and enable the error list. The error list window will show all the current errors and warnings in the program in a single window. There are two errors right now in the program. The first error is in line 42 and it says that the variable section is undeclared. So let's double click on this error. It will take us to the current line where the error is. And in this line, we are trying to display the content of the variable section before declaring it. So let's try to fix this error by declaring the variable section. Now let's go ahead and build and see if this fixes the issue. The build still failed. Now let's go back to the error list window and see what the error is. Notice how the number of errors has now decreased from 2 to 1, which means we fixed something, but still there is an issue. The remaining issue is in line 43, and it says that we are using an uninitialized local variable section. So in line 42, we declared a variable section of type float, but we did not initialize it. And in line 43, we are trying to print out the current value of the variable section. So this is causing the error. Now there are two ways to fix this issue. The first way is we can initialize the variable section while we are declaring it with an initial value. Let's do that and see if this fixes the issue. Now let's go ahead and build the solution again. Okay, now the build successfully completed. Now let's go to the error list window to verify if there are no errors. There are no errors. The second way of fixing this issue is to allow the user to input the value for section. So let's add an stdcout statement where we will ask the user to input the section. And then let's store the user response using stdcin in the variable section. Now let's compile the program again and see if this fixes the issue. Okay, the program successfully compiled, which means it fixed the issue. Now let's see how to run this program. To run the program, go to debug and notice there are two ways of starting the program. The first way is to start the program with debugging. The second way is to start the program without debugging. Let's go ahead with the second way first. Let's start the program without debugging. Okay, now the program started to execute and it at least executed line 33. It displayed the string literal please enter your name, and now right now it's waiting for the user to input the name. So it's waiting at line 38 for the user to input the name. So let me type my name here, and once I press enter, the program will continue executing. So let me press enter. Okay, now notice how the program continued the execution. It went to line 40, it displayed hello, comma, followed by my name. It also displayed what is your section. Now it's waiting for the user to input section at line 44. So let's go ahead and provide a section number. I will provide the number as 1.2 and I will hit enter. Now notice the remaining portion of the program successfully completed. We are looking at the print statement my section is followed by the section number. Notice how there is a formatting issue here. There must be a space between is and the number, which is missing. So let's go ahead and add the space. And then we can see the remaining statements, which are again print statements, which is printing welcome to CS followed by class code CS, which was initialized with value 6962. So we are seeing CS 6962. Then we are looking at welcome to ME followed by the class code for ME, which is ME6250. And finally, welcome to BioN with class code for BioN, which is 6900. So now let's exit the program. To exit, let's press escape or enter. And let's compile the program again. We just fixed the formatting issue. Now let's try to read on the program and see if the formatting issue is fixed. Okay, let me type my name again. Let me type the section now. This time let me enter a different value. And notice how the section is now printed along with the space as we expected.